In today's video, what it takes to get on the bikini stage.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss just what it takes to get on the stage as a bikini competitor. A lot of this will relate to just about any division, but I thought I would talk specifically about the bikini division because we're already getting ready for the 2019 season. Yes, I know it seems like 2018 just ended with Nationals only a few weeks ago, but the year is underway for the shows in the spring, and I've already got a couple people starting prep, and I wanted to highlight one of those people starting prep because we are making her pro debut next year. So Natalie Matthews, also known as Fit Vegan Chef, does a great job documenting her contest prep. So I'm going to link her channel below, and I want you guys to follow along this year as we make her journey to her pro debut and in our goal to rack up points to get to the Olympia stage, because one of the things that goes into bikini competition at the highest level, getting on the Olympia stage, is that you have to accumulate enough points to compete at the Olympia. No longer can you get on the Olympia stage just by winning a show unless you win the Olympia. Actually, the top 5 at the Olympia are already qualified, and if you win the Arnold based on their point system, that show alone will probably qualify you. But because there is a tier system, which I'm not going to discuss here, but there's a tier system for points, so certain shows offer certain points. So I learned a lot about the pro stage last year. I had my first year of pros competing, and so this is going to be the year that we really take that step forward and really start to get people towards that Olympia qualification. I would also like to mention that I'm going to be in the Houston area with Lacey Dunn and Natalie doing a posing seminar for about 4 hours from 1 to 5 p.m. I'll put the details below. You can click the link, or I'll put them on the screen here. But basically, we're just going to be giving back and helping out anyone who's interested in that area, coming out to meet us, talk about posing, talk about prep. I'll answer any of your questions that you guys might have. And yeah, check out the details there. And if you're interested, do that. Then I'll be at the LA Fit Expo. So let's talk about just what it takes to compete as a bikini competitor, because as a coach, I've had to learn a lot over the last several years in the process, because when I first got into coaching physique athletes, my really only focus was just getting people shredded. Just get you shredded, and the rest will take care of itself. But the bikini division has probably become the most dominant division across all physique athletes. You know, maybe men's physique or classic physique is in the ballpark, but any show I go to, I feel like bikini is the most dominant division there is, and for that reason it's become ultra competitive. So much so that this year I attended every single national show save for one. That was the weekend my son was born, and what I found was that the difference between first call-outs, which is usually the top 5 to 7 competitors, and say third call-outs, which is usually like, you know, 15 to 18, somewhere in that range, there wasn't that much of a difference. In fact, sometimes you really couldn't tell what the judges were specifically going after. And that means that the sport has gotten more and more competitive. You can still do rather well at the regional level because there's going to be a lot more variation, but when you get to the national level, it's insane. And then when we get to the pros, forget it. I mean, it is just girls who are gorgeous, in shape, know how to pose, have tons of stage presence. So I want to go over the process of how to get ready for a bikini competition. I think the first and foremost thing is attend a show. You need to go see what it's all about. You can't really learn about this sport by watching videos or by seeing it on Instagram. It doesn't really give you the full power of the sport until you see it on stage. So go find a local competition and see if it's something that you're interested in. I know the first time I attended a competition was the first time I got really excited about the idea of competing. Prior to that, it had always seemed like, I don't know, intimidating. And attending got me super excited. When you see it on stage, make sure you're actually paying attention to what stands out to you, because that's going to really help you visualize what you're doing in the gym, what you're doing with your diet, okay? The first thing I will say about getting on stage is give yourself enough time. Don't go see a show, or don't get excited about competing and go, oh, I'm gonna do the show in 12 weeks because it's local, and then, no, don't do that. I promise you, if you don't show up at the best you can possibly look, you will be disappointed. Do not say you were going to do this for the experience, okay? If you have a competitive bone in your body, the experience is going to crush you, knowing you could have been better. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do a show. That means make sure you're at your best, and then you'll know how to go from there, okay? And what do I mean by give yourself enough time? Well, listen. Be realistic about what your stage weight needs to be. For most people that haven't competed very often, stage weight's gonna be quite a bit lower than what you expect it to be. That's right, we just carry body fat in a different manner, and when you see competitors on stage, that is not a look that typically looks good in public. If you see a competitor walking around in a gym, they look insane. They don't just look good, okay? We don't just look nice in our clothes. If you see them out of the gym in a t-shirt and shorts walking around, you'd be like, they look skinny, stickly, thin. They probably get some negative comments walking around. In fact, I've heard negative comments about my competitors walking around, but again, this is for a specific goal. Don't listen to people in the gym that say, hey, you look ready, you should do a show. False. Get feedback from somebody who understands the competition world, either another competitor, a coach, someone who is around the sport, a judge, someone that you value and trust their opinion, okay? That is how you can be sure you are ready for a show. So, now that you've been to a show, now that you understand that you've given yourself enough time, what are the things you really need to pay attention to? Well, first and foremost, this is a physique competition. So, you need to make sure you bring the physique and you need to work on your posing. Posing for the bikini division, I will say it's very simple, but at the same time, very complicated. Now, why do I say it like that? Well, in the bikini division, there's not a lot of poses to master. You really only need to master maybe 2 or 3 poses, a front pose, a back pose, a transition, okay? But within those poses, based on your conditioning, based on your shape, based on your best assets, you're going to do things in a manner that really highlights your physique. Also, walking in those big heels. If that's not something you typically do, I work with a lot of girls that would consider themselves tomboys. Well, you need to be walking around in those heels all the time. Why? Well, they're difficult. They make the process of moving around on stage very uncomfortable, and if you're not used to wearing those, it's gonna show on stage. The one thing you don't want to look like you're doing when you're on stage is thinking about your posing. Posing should be effortless. If you go on any YouTube video, watch any of the major competitions, national shows. I even have some videos on my channel that have some video from the national shows. You'll see that the girls that do well, they just look natural up there. They look like they belong. They don't look like they're doing a routine. They look like they're just being themselves, okay? And when you're not thinking, your personality can shine through, okay? One of the biggest things about the bikini division is not just that it's a physique competition, because yes, you need to have a great physique. It's also a pageant. Don't think of it just as a physique. Don't think of it just like, oh, that girl has great glutes, I'll never beat her. That girl has great abs, I'll never beat her. Look at that girl's shoulders, I'll never beat her. It is not a glute shoulder competition. It is a bikini competition. And by bikini, they mean head to toe, hair, tan, posing, the physique, it all has to line up. So giving yourself enough time to learn your posing and be comfortable is key. When it comes to getting on stage with hair and makeup, look at some of the people on Instagram and look what they actually look like. Most of the shows that you go to or are going to compete at, there's going to be a makeup artist available. Make sure you communicate with that person how you want your makeup to come across, because there is such a thing as bad stage makeup, okay? Someone that tells you that they know how to do stage makeup but you haven't seen the proof, make sure you explain to them exactly what you're going for. Show them close-up pictures. This is something I like to do with my competitors. I like to say, hey, I don't know who's doing your makeup this show because Carolyn's not available, so let's go ahead and do this. Send them this picture and I show them one of my competitors that I love their makeup. This will give just about every makeup artist a foundation to go off of. Let's talk about hair. Hair can be a tricky one. You know, my girl Day Raja doesn't have a lot of hair. So what did we do? Well, we made it platinum. We made it blonde so it kind of stood out on stage, right? So what do we do with girls that have a lot of hair? Well, we want to make sure it has full body, okay? I like big hair, makes the body look smaller, kind of gives you that offset. So making sure you have full-bodied hair that is a natural fit for you. Don't do something out of the ordinary. Don't do something that's going to be really, really tough to maintain on stage. Extensions are really popular, okay? So that's it. The biggest thing with getting ready for the bikini competition is just give yourself enough time and practice and be ready. I don't think anything that you do preparing is going to actually prepare you completely for being on stage the first time. Your first show is going to be anxiety ridden. You're going to be nervous about being on stage. You're going to feel uncomfortable when the lights hit you and there's an audience there. And I always suggest doing at least 2 shows. Why? because the second show you do is going to be so much more enjoyable than the first one. You're not going to have as much anxiety. You're not going to be so worried about, oh, when do I eat this and what time should I get up and where do I go for my tan? All that stuff you've done. It now is experience under your belt. Your second show, it's more about enjoying the day, getting on stage, making friends, saying hello to the judges, hopefully shining, and then you go from there, okay? So that's it. I just wanted to highlight my friend Natalie, my client, who's going to be getting on the IFBB Pro stage this year, and we're going to have some exciting news with her, and her pro debut is going to be a very exciting show, and I'm going to be there, so we'll document the crap out of that. And then I'll be in Houston in January the 19th, so come out and hang out, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.